Alright everyone, a new sexual orientation has been discovered. People who are super straight, that is differentiated from non-super straight people who I guess, the idea is, it's kind of a joke. I'll try to explain it because it is meme worthy. The idea is that there are people who are straight, men attracted to females, women attracted to males, and they're trans exclusionary. Ironically, transgenderism generally conforming to a gender dichotomy, which is then denied by the same people sometimes. It gets confusing with Tumblr and so forth. First and foremost, though, there will be a pinned comment if you're watching this on YouTube with links to 4 other video hosting sites. Keep in mind, I make 2 videos a day now, just not on YouTube. That is, I'm making 4 videos a day. Only 2 of them go on YouTube. All of them go everywhere else. I'm doing that partially because of the algorithm. Seems to actually alleviate some of the problems with being throttled. I have no idea why. Anyway, the idea of super straight is a funny one. And it's sort of like, you remember when Tumblr and these groups were releasing their lists of genders, purity spiraling like half a decade ago, and there was the attack helicopter gender? This is sort of the orientational counterpart to that. For instance, I'm super straight, if you take that as a definition. I'm not attracted to, in any way, individuals who are born male. It doesn't matter if they get gender reassignment surgery, it just wouldn't do anything for me. And the thing is, if you look on Twitter, or any of their other leftist echo chambers, right now they're calling this transphobic. They're saying that the fact that an individual would truly, in most cases, this isn't a joke, this part is definitely real. They're saying, well, I'm just not attracted to that. That particular orientation or proclivity is considered to be problematic by the same people who will say you should express yourself exactly as you want to. Essentially, it's exposing the hypocrisy of some of the so-called activists, the craftivists of the furthest left, who have purity spiraled themselves into a million different gender arrangements. That really, you might as well just say you're an individual. And this is what I've said, and then before anyone complains, I don't care if people are transgendered. If they want to have surgery on their genitals, they want to take hormones, they dress a certain way, they express themselves how they want, they fuck who they want, I don't really care. It doesn't have anything to do with my life. When they dogpile people on the internet, which is typically where this happens, and insinuate that an individual is hateful for their dating choices, it is the ultimate irony and the ultimate hypocrisy from these same groups of people. Because, and you see this as well with race, I think, to an extent. You see the same people who are screeching about tolerance being very intolerant towards people who they have artificially labeled as hateful or bigoted. People who have been wrongfully labeled as Nazis, they're extreme, they're like out of touch, they're ultra-traditionalistic, that actually aren't. And they get harassed for this. It becomes sort of a lightning rod for criticism and harassment campaigns by leftists. We see this all the time with individuals who call themselves transgendered or allies of LGBT, and you see all of these different gender roles, gender expressions, orientations, and so forth enshrined as being good. That's just you being you. Be tolerant. Don't be ignorant of people's choices. Mind your pronouns. But then if a group of people that is trying to point out the hypocrisy of those groups takes up their own label, all of a sudden, it's seamless. The attempt to expose hypocrisy worked beautifully. Go into the hashtag Superstraight right now on Twitter if you're still using that shit piece of a platform, and tell me what you see. Lots of good memes and a lot of people bitching and complaining at the memes. In like a 24-hour period, so many people have been exposed as actually being intolerant and hateful, while their entire identity is wrapped around this, surrounded by this facade of specifically being pro-tolerance, we're diverse, be whoever you want to be, celebrate it, la la rainbows, but then there's this group of people who are simply saying, no, I am not interested in having sexual intercourse with someone with the same chromosomal system as me, XX or XY, and of course Turner syndrome and some other things apply, and that muddies the water slightly. It's basically whether you have a Y chromosome or not. You're not interested in putting your penis in the Y chromosomed vagina, and this is considered to be problematic. It can be the transgendered community, loosely called. Some of the individuals that are part of that can get a little bit rapey at times, insinuating that there's something systemically wrong with you if you don't want to, hook up with them or something. it gets a little bit on the creepy side, actually, at certain points. You may have noticed this over time. And I've known people that are transgender. I've never physically, personally known anyone who takes up the Tumblr banner and berates people online and then flips out when someone's making an obvious joke about there being a new sexual orientation that is literally designed just as a meme, just as a hyperbolic referendum, bless you, on the sort of hypocrisy and intolerance, really, that you see from some people that are part of a community specifically based around the idea of togetherness, tolerance, and individualism. By the way, the individualism aspect of like the gay rights and so forth, I actually appreciate that. As a libertarian and a severe individualist, I don't care what people do if it doesn't affect me. But the hypocrisy does affect me. It's people bitching and moaning and calling others bigoted or throwbacks or Neanderthals, as Biden would call them probably, based on literally their sexual choices, their choice of mates. I always figured that these movements should embrace the idea that you should screw who you want to screw. You shouldn't screw who you don't want to screw, or date or marry or whatever. That's sort of the point, right? It was 20 years ago, I guess. It seems not to be anymore. And the thing is, I'll tell you why that happened. They won their battle. There are equal rights for people. You can marry whatever consenting adult you want. In some states, they'll look the other way if it's kind of semi-polygamous, as long as it's not a state marriage. You can do these things. You can screw who you want and how you want. You can have your whips and chains and your leather bondage dungeon, and you can't get arrested for that. You already have equal rights. There's no real systemic discrimination against individuals. It's not discrimination if you choose not to screw someone. To proclaim that it is the ultimate ironic hypocrisy, and then this comes along and exposes that for what it is. I just find it hilarious. So yes, I have super straight pride. Because I'm not interested in that kind of sexuality. Well, I mean, I'm married now, but even before, like, not something that I was into. There are actually people who consider that problematic. Again, the same people who will give you a documented list of cases of intolerance against them for the choices that they make. But if someone else wants to make a choice not to date them or make out with them or something, all of a sudden they're the bigot. It's interesting how that works. It's like the person has managed to finagle themselves into a bizarre cognitive dissonance where they think that literally everything in the world is someone else's fault, and they can only be blameless. It's like they're making themselves like sanctified or holy or something. It's almost become like a weird religious movement of sorts. That's about all. Peace out.